Hi guys, well today we have a special session for you today in the trading den, but it's just me in the trading den. My entire crew, cameramen, the mixers, the producers, the script writers, not that we really use script writers, but we do have people who kind of collate all the questions and so on that we have on the channel. They're all gone. It's literally just me in the trading den, but therefore today it's just you and I exclusively here, and I'm therefore going to teach you one of my favorite tools of all time. Today I'm going to teach you how to place and trade and profit using power pivots. That is going to be covered right here, right now. Okay guys, so here we are in the trading den. It's very eerily quiet, but that's good because it gives us some lovely concentration time. And today I'm going to show you the tool that kicked it all off for me, and it's all about pivots. In fact, many of you might have Googled me on the internet and seen me make £19,000 in about 4 minutes. Trading sterling, I think it was, back in those days. God, it was over literally 15 years ago, that particular trade. I'm going to show you today how I use power pivots. Now, power pivots is a real precision way of making money in the markets. For those of you who are trading throughout this coronavirus time will realize that the markets have literally gone mental. 2008's got nothing on what's going on right now. The market volatility, look, I'm going to say this straight off the bat. Market volatility right now will crunch you in half if you don't know what you're doing. Because right now, volatility is utterly fantastic. However, the swings and the movements, as those of you that are looking at the markets are probably aware, are pretty insane. And for that very reason, we are having a field day, but you've got to know how to handle intraday volatility. If you are unsure, you need to go back and look at my video on the ATR, which is the average true range. That's a cracking video, which is going to show you how to measure, look, where you should be putting that stop loss. If you look at the euro dollar, in fact, let's have a quick look at the euro dollar right now. I'm just going to jump to a regular chart. Let's brick up euro dollar just on the daily. Let's just take a look at the daily chart. I mean, just look at the vast swings that we've got up and down that's happening on euro dollar. Same thing is for sterling. Let's just go British pound against US dollar. And you'll see. Hold on, I haven't got these ones sorted in the list. There we are, there it is. Same kind of picture with sterling. So big swings up and down. You know what's happening right now. We're getting deaths every 5 minutes from different countries around the world. You've got Donald Trump saying all sorts of crazy things. You've got Boris Johnson, who's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has just come down with coronavirus, as has the Health Secretary. So it's all a bit mental. We're thinking the UK may be in lockdown till June, and the Deputy Health Minister has now just said that could even be extended to December. So who knows what the hell is going on? I can tell you one thing, for currency traders, whilst from a humanitarian perspective, this is a disastrous time. And of course, many people are losing their incomes. Many people are having to really reevaluate how they're going to live their lives this year. Currency traders are having a field day. I mean, let's be really clear about that. There is volatility out there. And what we don't want is flat, snake-like markets. We want markets which are raging up and down. You only need to look at this chart to see that markets are raging up and down. So there is opportunity out there. The question then becomes, responsible trader, how do I harness, how do I tether that bull, and how do I make sure I can use it in a productive way to make money rather than just get slopped around, because there is a lot of slopping around going on out there. I'm going to introduce you now to a trading tool I've been using for literally the last 25 years. It's the concept of trading pivots or using pivot points. So this is power pivot points. We're going to get into that right now. So let me just jump to, if you look at my screen, you'll notice that I've got a little button here called Morning Pivots. And really what I'm doing here is I've set my screen layout in Smart Charts so I get a good view on what the markets are doing. Now, if you look how I've organized this, and if I put my mouse here, you can see I've got my four screen layout is detailed as the following. I'm going to tell you how I do this so you can set your smart charts up to be exactly the same as mine. So you'll notice that if I click here, I can grid my charts for 4 charts. You want to make sure that's selected. Top left-hand corner, we're going to have the daily chart. That's D1 daily chart. So you select daily here, and you just literally pick daily. No strategy here at all, not useful, because we're literally going to do this as a manual setup. You'll see how the whole thing comes together in a second. Now you'll notice the green dotted line here is the 200 period moving average. Now that is the guideline before, is the market in an uptrend or a downtrend? It's a very broad kind of indicator which says, look, if the markets are trading underneath that 200 period moving average on the daily, we're looking at short positions. Now, we then move over to the next screen on the right-hand side, and you'll notice there's a green spot. Now, let me just click on that green spot. And what I've done is I've series linked these charts together, which basically means that whatever currency I select on any of the charts on this screen, it will update all the other charts. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm just using these 4 separate windows to have just a different view on the same world. Of course, right now I'm looking at dollar Swiss. That's USD/CHF. And you'll notice I've picked the same color. So they're all the same color links. If I confirm that, it just means if I change anything here, it will update all the screens. See, look, I've just clicked on Sterling Kiwi and it's updated all those screens. Let me go back to the dollar Swiss though, because I want to focus predominantly on that. There it is. Right, now, you'll notice I've created a green dotted line, which is going to be the 200 period moving average. If you don't know how to put that on your chart, let me just quickly show you how to do that. You come across and you hit here indicator, and I've got in here EMA, so you just type in here EMA and it brings up the exponential moving average, and then on it goes. Now let me show you how you edit the exponential moving average. Let me just remove one because you don't need 2 moving averages of the same number. I just then hit this cog, this settings button here. And all I've done is I've said source is closed, it's exponentialized, which means it gives more pricing relevance to more recent pricing data. So that's exponential. The style I've picked is dotted, nice fat line 4, so it's obvious, and I've made it green. I update that. And that gives me that dotted that dotted green line, which is the 200 period moving average. On dollar Swiss, you can see that price is underneath the 200. So that tells us that's a tick for a short. Then we move across to the 4-hour chart. Price is underneath that. That's a tick for a short. Then the bottom left screen, now notice I've just added the same indicator to all of those screens. I can even save that profile of indicator if I want. All I just would do is I hit the save button here, and I can call this, I don't know, call it Greg Pivot, if we like. And I can say save that, and that's now Greg Pivot. Then if I then open it, if I then want to add it onto here, I'll just hit Greg Pivot, hit the plus, and it adds it to there, you see? So boom, done. But obviously I want to keep it nice and simple like that. So I can add, let me just close that. I can add any of those profiles or templates I want to any of my screens. That's completely acceptable. Now, bottom left-hand corner, I've got the hourly chart, so I can see price is again underneath that 200 period moving average. And then here, and this is the interesting one, is my 5-minute chart, okay? And that is the one that I'm going to have my pivot lines on. So what am I looking to do? Well, let's open up the action window, is the window which is bottom right. That's the one where all the trading activity is going to take place. So I'm going to open that window right now, and you'll see, if we can just drag this down. Now you can see this main pivot point line. Let me just change my my cursor to a grab tool. Let me just see if I can bring this now. Okay, great. So you can now you're getting an understanding. Now, you can see price is sitting right in the middle of that main pivot point line. So what is a pivot point line? How are these pivot point lines calculated? What is the game all about? Pivot point lines are calculated from the previous trading session's activity. So you'll notice the main blue line is an important, that's called the main pivot point line. If the price is below that line, we look to take short positions. If the price is above the blue line, we'd look to take long positions. However, we would not be taking a long position here because we're actively seeking short positions here. So if you look here on here, we would wait for this price to break below the blue line, and then we would run it just north of the first red S1 line. So this is the support first S1 line. This is S2, and lower down here will be S3. Above is R1, which stands for resistance line 1. This is resistance line 2. And of course, this is resistance line 3. So on the dollar Swiss, I can take this trade on. Now, let me show you how you can kind of make this a little bit better. So I will take this trade on if I get a confirmed break below that pivot point line. Now you can see markets in the dollar Swiss market are sitting right on the pivot point line. There's really no major direction moving here. That's okay, because that means it's potentially going to break down or break up. If it breaks up, I'm not interested in placing the trade whatsoever. I'm only interested in placing a trade which would go short. Because why? Because I've got all the major market direction in my favor. Look to the left. Is the price below the 200 on the daily? Yes, it is. Is the price below the 200 on the 4 hour? That's this top right hand chart. Yes, it is. Is the price below the 1 hour on the 200? That's the bottom left chart. Yes, it is. And then finally, where I do my work, my action is here on that bottom right chart. Now hit the middle button there on Smart Charts, which will expand that screen so I can really see what I'm doing. You'll see price is now stuck onto that pivot point line. That is an uncertain market, but that's okay. When market gets some direction, if it continues in the same direction, physiology of the other major time frames, when we're looking up to get our major time frame direction, that daily, that 4 hour, that 1 hour, which is pushing down, we want to set ourselves up to catch this little fish if it's going to move in our direction. Let me show you how you do that. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the short button. Now I'm going to move my lines around. So I hit the short button and I say, look, I'm going to take profit north of the red line. I'm going to have my sell entry. And if I'm smart about this, I move my short line just south of where we've had this. So I'm going to let it clearly break through that major pivot point line. And I want my stop loss to be up here. So I've got some nice protection. So you can certainly see, look, I'm risking £2,000 to make 2,600. And why have I put it just north, let's say, of this R1 line? Because you're going to find that price is going to bounce off there. If it drops through here and enters me short, for it to come all the way back and break through the main pivot point line and break through the R1 line, it's a dumb trade. It's a duff trade. It hasn't worked out. But I'm giving myself plenty of protection. I'm putting my stop loss behind the main pivot point line, which is now has got to break through to go short. And I'm putting my stop loss above that R1 line. That's really going to be important. That's going to give me lots and lots of protection. Plus, I've got more profit to make than I'm risking, but it nearly is a one-to-one. Profit is a little bit more in my favor. So I like the look of that trade. I've got all the major market direction in my favor. The price would have to break down through the pivot, and I'm making sure that it's breaking through enough of this support, which is formed just underneath the pivot point line. So I want to make sure that I get through the pivot point line. I want to make sure I break through the price support that's there, and then it's on its way. To victory. My take profit should be north. Should be north of that major support line. So it's basically a one-to-one nearly kind of trade. I like the look of it. I then just hit go. And then that is all set up and it's ready to trade. Let's have a look at a couple more just to give you an understanding of how that works. But hopefully you can see there's a structure to this. There's the daily, there's the 4 hour, there's the 1 hour, and then the action happens on that 5 minute chart. Let's look at a couple more. I did spot Euro Yen this morning, so I can literally, these are all series linked, so I just click on one and it should update all of my charts. There we go. So again, I've got price on the daily, which is below the 200, as you can see. I've got price just below, around the 200 on the 4 hour, price just below the 1 hour. Like this look. We like the look of this because we're just breaking through those 200s on the daily, on the hourly or on the 4 hour, which means we could have a good push from here. Let's open up the 5 minute chart. Now we can see what's happened here. Well, on the 5 minute chart, we're already through the main pivot point line. That happened this morning. Look at that. High test off this morning. Lovely run down. The move's already happened on that. Okay, fair enough. So what happens? How else can we play this? Well, we can look, if the market comes back and touches again towards the 200, that can give us an opportunity to go short. We can put a short position on that. No problem whatsoever. And that means that then if it does, we can put a sell stop here with a stop loss. Let's put that in. So I can put my stop loss above. I can put my sell entry if we hit around this level here, and I can put my take profit right back down to where it was before. That should then give me, let's have a little look. Yeah, I'm gonna put my stop loss just north of the pivot point line because that is going to give me enough resistance protection. Quite happy with that. There's no point in putting it all the way at R1 because we can see the range where the Euro Yen is. You can see what happened early this morning. touched up through the pivot point line, fell, hit a lovely, good old 70 pip run this morning. Could go ahead and do that this morning. So I can just leave this bait in the water. If the market comes back and touches that, I'm going to be short at this level here, which is short of 119.85. Stop loss at 120.31. And my take profit, if I can use my eyeballs, 119 spot, sort of 20 or somewhere around there. 20, no, actually 15, I think. Yeah, 13. Okay, 119, 13 or 11. Doesn't matter. It's there or thereabouts. In fact, actually I want it. Yeah, let's go 11, 119, 12. That would be the preferred number. So yeah, my profit target is 3,300. I'm going to take, my trade size is 6 lots. By the way, if you're concerned or you're worried or you don't understand how to trade size properly, Smart Charts does this so beautifully and so elegantly. On the right-hand side here, look, I just put in the risk on my ultimate account. There's 104 grand in this account. So I'm only going to risk 2% of my account. Then Smart Charts cleverly figures out how many lots I should use, or if we want to do spread bets or pounds per points or contracts for difference. It really doesn't matter. You can actually trade size in a variety of different ways. Pounds per point, lot size, cash amount, whatever you like. Anyway, so on the euro yen, you can see again, I've got all that trade confluence is what we call it in the mix. So I now can hit, I can put my expiry because it's a pivot is end of day. So I'm going to stick that on end of day. In other words, if it doesn't happen by the end of today, those pivot point lines are irrelevant. So I want this trade taken off the table. I didn't do that with my last trade. Let me show you how you go back and do that. I literally can shrink the screen right down. Then I go back to trade. You'll see the 2 trades I just put on. Let's put pending here. And the first one I did was that dollar Swiss. And you can see that trade is in. And there's my expiry. I put no expiry on that one. So I want to go and change that trade. So let me pick this one back up. There we go. So I've clicked on it. Now watch. If I bring the trade ticket, change my expiry here, and I put end of day, and then I hit OK, it'll then put the end of day, which means that it's going to be in 9 hours and 23 minutes. And there you go. You can see the countdown clock is ticking. So if I go back to my charts, let's just have a quick look at sterling. Last one I want to have a look at, and then you'll get a good understanding. You can see now it's put a dotted line. Do you see the dotted line on the top? That is when the trade expiry is going to happen. If I open up this screen here, and I scroll along, hold on, you'll see this dotted line. That dotted line says this trade will be taken off the table if it hasn't triggered at this point. So that gives you an understanding of how the trade management system works, okay? And let's just do one more, little sterling trade. Again, so we've got price, we haven't got confluence here, price is above the 200 on the hourly. Was it sterling Aussie perhaps I was looking at this morning? Yeah, you've got a lack of confluence here again. So you've got price above. Here we go. This is a bit better. And you've already had the reaction. So sterling Aussie price above the 200 on the daily, as it is on the 4 hour, as it is on the 1 hour. Bringing up then the action charts for these pivots. Look at this. I mean, this is a volatile market, no less, right? But let's just bring that across. So this is your 5-minute chart. Now you can see price has broken up through the 200, through the main pivot point line here. Your profit target would be the R1. We're not in an ideal situation to enter this trade for obvious reasons, because it's either in play. I don't like the look of trading this above that, so that's not something I want to do. But you've got the 2 ones on there, the euro yen. The reason I wouldn't enter this one is because either we would want to make sure we've cleared this, these would be intra pivot point resistance areas, and we want to get it on a break through the main pivot point line here. That's already happened, so that's not to be traded right now. But the euro yen one we can keep watching, and the dollar Swiss one, have a look yourself on your copy of Smart Charts. If you haven't got yourself a copy of Smart Charts, look in the description of the video here, and there's a 7-day free trial of Smart Charts for anybody who's a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Just take advantage of that. You'll find there's lots of training. If you're not, one of the things I want you guys to be really aware of is I try and put lots of great content on the YouTube channel. I know lots of other people who run their YouTube channels run it as advertising campaigns. Look, I believe in just giving you the content and the training on there, and then, you know, and I think if you just serve people and give them as much great content as possible and help them, they'll make a decision whether they want to go ahead and do the full training. But I will say this, and please don't think this is a big pitch or anything, but the training in Smart Charts is incredible because it's been chapterized, which means we build you up. There's a whole trader cycle, which has been built up so that each layer sits on top of itself. So then when you get to the kind of trading I'm doing on YouTube, you're going to go, oh my God, yeah, I see exactly where that slots into the grand scheme of things. So we've put probably about 2.5 years of thinking into how to structure this in such a way that it's modularized, but you can then follow it, and you can and you can really build yourself from the ground up. So if you haven't got a free copy of Smart Charts yet, it runs for 7 days. Grab it and then go through all the training, because I think you're going to find that to be incredibly powerful and helpful. So that is my power pivot strategy. Let's watch those over the next couple of days. That euro yen, that dollar Swiss trade. Remember, it's confluence of all of the time frames. We want to make sure we got that done. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you get yourself on there and do that. And don't forget to look in the description if you'd like to get yourself access to Smart Charts. There is a hell of a lot of tools. I've only shown you a little bit so far. Grab that. And if you're at home in isolation, which seems to be the case for most of the world, please take care of yourself and your family, and I look forward to seeing you at a future trading video from here in the Trading Den.